tribe has spoken.
I know that you were really upset about me falling asleep that day for some reason.
Welcome back
Welcome back
to the show. Currently, when this is being released, Aisha and I will be in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to say in the middle of the canyon.
Oh,
but
no.
not
Hopefully
yet.
we will have made it out of there.
We will have survived the Grand Canyon, and we will be blissfully in the Mediterranean.
Drinking wine in the Mediterranean. I will have no problems once I finish this Grand Canyon hike.
No,
I will be
none whatsoever.
the best version of myself. So we're recording this so then you guys can at least
We're
get
pre-recording this.
pre-recording. So then you guys can get an episode from us.
So you can hear our
Right.
voices while we are dark.
Yeah, because everybody's like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see your photos. And I'm like, you won't
Is everyone
see
saying
them.
that?
You won't see them for a while. Everyone is saying that.
They're not to me. That's okay.
Well, they are to me, but that's fine.
I think everyone will be happy that maybe I've gone dark.
Don't say that. I love when you're not dark.
Thanks.
I love it when you're actively online.
Thanks so much.
And
No,
so,
it'll be good. It'll be good to disconnect for a bit.
yeah, I'm excited to potentially forget all of my worries.
We'll be
at
taking
home.
quite a bit of break from reality TV as well.
I'm sad.
Kind of blows. But we'll be so living in the moment. So crazy.
We'll be so
We'll be
different.
so real.
We're gonna be so
and present.
honest. And real. Can't think of anything else.
real time. Just so present. Like such present ladies.
But we will vlog.
But yeah,
Vlogging.
we will still be.
I will be vlogging.
It'll just be post.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Sorry. We're just finally excited.
finally, yeah. Work is done.
We're done with our work.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord. So we thought for these short little episodes,
Mm-hmm.
we'd summarize season 7 of Love is Blind.
Yeah. We're gonna get you in the know because season blind.
Season Blind.
Love is Blind. It's just one of those shows that like really, I've said this before, really hooks me in.
I agree.
And you can like, it's like a semi binge because they'll like drop pockets here and
Yeah.
there. And so I just like really can't. I have to like it's one of those things I just have to finish. Like I have
Yeah.
to, when they drop, I'm like, I have to know what
Yeah.
happens.
I do kind of think this is like your like holy grail of reality TV dating.
And it's not like
maybe
I'm like, oh,
wise.
I love these people. Like I'm just like so fascinated by the concept, and like I love watching people interact in like this. Experiment is like so fascinating to me.
This is just like your top one.
It is, yeah.
And
I
so-
love watching it, and I wouldn't say I like. There's any couples that I'm like, oh, I'm a ride or die for them, or like whatever. I just like have to at the end of the
this
day.
season.
Really, from any, I couldn't really even.
Yeah, you do. The one from Seattle. Was it Brandon? No. He was the older guy.
Oh, they were a good couple.
Yeah, you loved him.
I did love him. I just thought he was like a little bit older and
Yeah.
like just like very mature, very well. I just feel like
Brent.
Maybe
No.
I don't remember that.
I don't know. his
I
name.
the thing I think I like about this is like I feel like it's the most realistic. They find the most
Yeah.
realistic people,
Yeah.
and it's locational, so
That I think is genius.
it is genius. And so I feel like I'm watching like a not like to say this because they are attractive people on there,
Yeah.
but like I feel like I could be in that position.
Yeah, I would say they're attractive, but they're not so
They're,
attractive
like,
that it's
normal.
like
Yeah.
unrealistically
Like I could
what.
see myself in
Yeah.
on the show.
Yeah.
Now, maybe I shouldn't say that,
But like they're very normal people. It's
yeah,
not like
very normal people. Like I feel like the guys on there, it's not like all these other too hot to handle where it's like I have no shot. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, somebody like that is like kind of what maybe I'm looking for, or like I could see.
Yeah.
And it's just like interesting to see like real people like interact in like a real type of relationship way.
Yeah.
And so I think I do a lot of reflecting on like my dating life when I watch this, because I'm like, this is like this is kind of realistic to me.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why I gravitate towards it.
Maybe.
Because it doesn't feel far off.
I would agree with that. It does feel.
Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of the pods, to me, as dating apps are, you do have the visual aspect where it's pictures, but it's not always accurate,
Yeah.
And like, I feel like when I start talking with someone, I kind of forget about, like, I don't go back and look at their pictures because I kind of get cringed out. And so you're talking to this faceless person, essentially. And it's like the pods are like that giddiness of like you're talking to this person that you don't really have a concept of what they look like. And then everything either hits the fan or like goes really well when you meet in person.
Yeah.
Like when you have that first date from like a dating app meetup, it's like gonna make or break it, or kind of, I feel like. So it either matches up and you vibe, or it's like, I'm not feeling this. And so that's why I think I like the meeting part so much, because it's like, again, realistic, but it's like you have this like bond because you've been talking for so long, and then you finally meet, and like a lot of times it changes.
I would agree with that. I think for me, I'm such a personality based person where like everybody I've ever been interested in is all personality based. So I think it would be better for me.
No,
just
I agree.
because
I
hate texting. And so that's why I don't do the dating apps, because I get so bored right out the gate, because I just like don't like the messaging.
You have to find your
so
I don't want to like talk about our personal dating lives, but you do have to like find your like niche on how long you want to talk versus like it's a very, and if it goes too long, I'm done. Or if it's too abrupt, I'm also done.
My problem is I just like don't even like ever even sending a message.
Yeah.
Because I'll send them first. Like that's not my issue. I don't care about being the first one, but then it's just like I don't care if they respond ever.
Yeah, it really, for me, it like it either picks up because of personality or it doesn't. Like it either goes or it doesn't.
That makes sense.
And it is all for me based, because again, I'm not going back and looking at their profiles. Like if we are vibing in conversation, then I'll give it a chance to like go meet him. But again, it is personality driven for me. So that's why the show, I feel like, is so interesting.
Love that for us. Anyway. This season, they're in DC.
Yeah.
And the pods was decent. I would say it was a good mixture of entertainment for us.
Yeah.
A lot of couples came out of this season, which is always better. Yeah. Because I remember they did it in, I think it was Texas. And there were like 2 couples. And I was like,
there was a lot. Yeah.
Or maybe it was Florida. I don't remember. But this season we got 7 couples that got engaged by the end of the pods. And we saw 6 of them in Cabo.
Okay. Do you think, because I think after they all get engaged and they were like, we'll get into it, but like this one couple wasn't one of the ones they chose to like, do you think that was a show decision, or
I don't
like
think it was a show decision.
Their decision?
I think it was, she dropped him before
I did too,
Cabo.
but the way they like worded it was kind of weird. It was
I don't think they wanted to go to Cabo together.
Yeah,
I think she
immediately
was immediately a no, and she just was like, "I'm not going." Because everybody's giving the show heat, which the show, in some regards, I will also give a heat, but she was like so immediately no, and everyone's giving the show like crap for not filming them, and I'm like, I think they didn't even make it.
Yeah, no, I don't think they even went there.
Like if you're saying in your talking head, "I'm not interested," after you just met. I, as the producer, also probably wouldn't have paid for you guys to go to Cabo.
Right.
When obviously you're already a no.
Yeah, I'm just like, they should have just said like, oh, they broke up before.
Yeah, I kind of thought that's what they did. I didn't realize that the show just didn't follow them.
Well, that's what the show said. They said in their little blurb was like, they were not one of the couples that we like chose to follow. They went and did their own thing. And I was like, is that a lie?
See, to be honest, I didn't even read it. I just saw the black and I was like, oh, they broke up, so they didn't. I didn't even read it.
I wanted to know because I wanted to watch them.
Valid.
They were so,
I was just like, they didn't last. So obviously they didn't film it. But we had 7 couples come out, and I would be interested. Well, I know that my top ones in the pods were Garrett, Tyler. That's embarrassing to say now. I don't like Tyler now, but I did in the pods. And then Bowden, I think his name was.
Yeah. I liked Bowden.
Loved Bowden.
Yeah.
I was like, absolutely done, perfect. He was my favorite by far.
Yeah.
And then I liked Garrett enough. I thought they were cute together.
Mm-hmm.
They were the super nerdy couple, him and
Taylor. Yeah.
And
so I think at first glance with any of the dudes, I was not super impressed. If I had like, because again, I watched the show and I'm like, who would I choose? I probably would have picked I liked Bowden, but I also liked him visually.
Yes.
I feel like he was pretty attractive, and I liked he was like kind of goofy, very charismatic, kind of a thing. But I wasn't like, oh my god, this guy. Yeah, there wasn't any guy that I was like, oh. I did really like the pairing of Taylor and Garrett.
Yeah.
I was like unsure because at first he was like kind of giving off like really analytical, smart, intelligent, which sometimes they can be kind of like black and white, like not super emotional. But I really, really liked Taylor, the girl. I thought she was super well spoken, and I thought they paired well. And I still think that. Like, I still think they're a good pairing. But
I think he shot himself in the foot for most of the viewers when she said the comment, like, I'm not going to tell you my mom's name because it'll give away my race. And I think, to only play devil's advocate, I think the comment threw him off enough.
Yeah.
Where he was like, wait, what? And I think...
Yeah.
Depending on, I guess, his dating history, like, he may have not even thought of it. And then going into the experiment, he didn't give it much thought because it probably, like, didn't matter to him.
Yeah.
And then maybe just, like, hearing a comment like that, he's, like, thinking about the rest of his life and his future and, like, if it would change or anything. And so I think he worded it really wrong. And it was probably a dumb thing to say. It was a dumb thing to say. And I feel like he was trying to make it better, but like it almost ended up worse. And so I just don't think he did a good job explaining or like helping her understand why he maybe was like
I think
thrown
you're right.
by
I think
the
it
comment.
thrown him, and I don't think he initially he seems like a very calculated kind of likes to think before he speaks, and I think it just caught him off guard and like he didn't kind of project in the best way.
Yeah. And I think she's the same, where she they're both very like thinking before they speak.
Yeah.
And so I think that even threw him off more because he's like, it almost sounds like you rehearsed that entire bit. But
which she might have.
She probably, did.
Which, and I do respect, like, I think a lot more couples than I feel like ever before, like, actually took the, like, physicality really seriously and, like, weren't sharing. And, like, again, that's the whole point of the experiment. I think it's never a good idea. I mean, we learned last time with the Megan Fox thing.
Stupid.
But even, I think Nick and Hannah, that happened. They talked kind of physicality, and like it's ultimately probably someone's gonna be disappointed. Yeah. And if someone was disappointed in the way I looked, I would be devastated. If they were expecting one thing and I didn't measure up, that would kill me.
I would be mortified.
So I'm not gonna put myself in that position and like say I look like this, or like for him, he said he was like this big football player, and she was like pretty disappointed, which I'm not a fan of her either. Yeah. So
I think if you're going to compare yourself to a celebrity, you already are screwing
I'm just
up.
like, it's the worst thing you could do.
You never should compare yourself. Like, you could say, like, maybe, like, attributes or, like, details. But I think if you're going to do a side-by-side comparison to someone actual,
I think if I went on, I would be like Taylor. I'd be like, I don't want to give you any indication. No. I think in the this is where I think it might come up, because I think when you're trying, because there's still a little bit of competitiveness. Yeah. Because you're like kind of competing, like if somebody's talking to multiple people and maybe you want to sway them and say like, oh, I look like this, or like I have this feature, to maybe like sway them. And I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I think that's a bad idea.
I think that's like it's maybe not completely dishonest, but I think if that's what you're going to use to sway them, that's completely missing the point of the experiment.
Yeah, it's like when Jessica last season said, when you see me, you're going to choke.
Yeah. I'm like, we're not focusing on looks here, so why are you saying like, oh, I'm this, or I'm so tall, or I'm just like, stop using physical attributes to get them excited.
Bad idea.
Bad idea.
I really liked Taylor and Garrett. They were my number one when they met each other and like left the pods. And then I liked Tyler starting out. But then, I don't know, there was like certain things that kind of turned me off to it somewhat quickly.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was sweet, like
he had some
knew
really
what he wanted,
sweet moments.
Praying with her and like doing kind of cute stuff like that. But then, I don't know, I don't even remember what he said, but it just was enough where I was like, okay, not loving it. But I do like Ashley. And so I think once they picked each other, I was just kind of like, okay, like, cool. Yeah. Good for them.
Yeah.
And then we had Bowden and I don't remember her name.
Marissa
and
Marissa
Ramses.
was between
Ramses.
Ramses, I think.
The three of them in like a little love triangle. And she ended up picking Ramses, and I was devastated. I was like, Bowden deserves the world.
Bowden.
I love Bowden.
You know what I respect about Bowden is the way he took it.
Absolutely.
Took it like a man. Like,
took it on the chin.
Took it so well.
So good.
And I just respected it. Yeah.
I cried when he was talking about the fact that he was from the Ukraine and like all of that. Like his story was amazing.
Yeah.
He was so sweet, so respectful with his adopted parents. Like all around, just like such a sweet man.
Yeah.
I do get her point where like she thought they were more friends at the time.
Yeah.
And Ramses seemed like this other guy that was like mysterious.
Very different from her.
She was like, oh, and then she leaned into the signs, which I thought was a bad decision.
Yeah.
She was like, he's a double Libra or something. And I was like, I just don't know if I'd make such a decision based off of that.
I think I see a lot of girls do this in the pods where they're like, I typically date this type of guy. And if there's a guy that resembles that, they like exit out. So she's like, I've typically dated the hyper masculine military guy.
Yeah.
And because they had the military backing, like I don't think Bowden was that type of guy.
No.
But I think the military backing got her in her head a little bit. And she was like, I don't want to go for that. I want to go for something different, which was Ramses.
And I think they had more just like lighthearted banter. And Ramses was a lot more serious.
Yeah.
But liked them when they saw each other. Thought they were a beautiful couple.
They look good together.
Ramses is the worst now, though. So I will say I'm not a fan.
Yeah, hate him.
I want him out. And then we also had Steven and Monica. And I love Monica. Sweet girl is 36. She's just trying to find love.
Yeah.
Steven seemed weird. Seemed like someone
weird.
I would not at all ever want to date.
I kind of got weird vibes from the beginning.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything he like, I don't know. It was just kind of like a way he spoke.
Yeah. And then he was like, I'm a cheater. And that immediately for me was like red flags.
Yeah.
Good for him, I guess, that he owned up to it. But I don't think I would have said yes. I mean, I probably wouldn't have said yes to any of them. So that's a hard thing to swallow. But when they met, it was like fine.
Yeah.
She seemed just like so mature and like smart and like ready and knowing exactly what to do.
Yeah.
He just seemed very immature in comparison to her.
Yes, I agree.
And then we had Hannah and Nick. Just like you on both accords for me.
I didn't like either. Hannah drove me nuts. She was insufferable to me.
Why?
Because I feel like she is a mean girl. She was so mean.
She was definitely giving mean girl energy.
And like the more I watched her and Nick, like again, I kind of also go for like that type of guy typically, like very charismatic, very confident. And so I didn't love that at first because I was like, kind of. But the more I got to know him, I feel like I liked him more than I thought I would.
That's so funny. I would never, ever go for a dude like Nick.
Oh. But she was so mean to, like, again, we're not seeing all of their conversations, but I feel like she was mean to him.
She, though, is very much that girl where her sense of humor is being mean, and you're like, it's not funny.
Yeah.
Like, in my mind, I'm like, it's tired.
Really fast.
Yeah. I'm like, it's tired, and like, you're kind of just hurting my feelings. But then when you like say something, she's like, I was just joking.
And
you're
then
like where's the line?
But
man?
like anytime anyone dishes it back, she gets super
very
offended.
shut down. Yeah.
And like it's all.
So that would irritate me beyond belief.
Not to say like I like Nick. I just think out of them two, I think I was siding more with Nick because I was so irritated with her. And I'm like, I wouldn't want to be with someone like that either, who's like constantly putting me down and talking to me like
I'm an idiot.
Just because they had different experiences growing up. Like she moved out when she was 18 and like became ultra independent. That's like so great for you, but that wasn't his experience, and I don't think you should make him feel like an idiot because of that. Like,
and then she tried to break things off with him, but he was like persistent. Yeah, and then. Yeah, she was like, actually, I'm not going to close the door. So I think she, too, was like a little wish-washy for my liking.
She goes back and forth, and it gets worse. Like, as the episodes go on, she's like more... It's like even watching them have an argument is so, like, whiplashy because she's like all irritated, and then she's like, but you look really good right now. Or like, and I'm just like...
No, she's very passive-aggressive, very below the belt.
Yeah, but her... I guess we could talk about the big blow-up in the pods between her and then when she chose Nick, because like they were broke up and then they came back together, and then when she turned down Leo
was literally nuts. Leo was crazy.
Was insane.
Scared me so bad. He was crazy. He his hair reminded me of in The Office when Creed brought in takes the ink cartridge and like dumps it all over his head to dye his hair black. It's exactly what his hair reminded me of. I'm like, this looks like it was colored on with like a marker, or like you spray painted part of your hair.
Was crazy.
He was weird.
He was weird.
All he could talk about was how rich he was, but then simultaneously saying he doesn't want anyone to like be with him for his money.
How many times did he bring up that stupid Rolex?
Oh my gosh, how many times? Also, I'm sorry. Stop telling people and like flaunting that your family all died.
I know.
Within like 2 years, and now you're a millionaire. I'm like, you don't need to keep telling people that.
No. Yeah, it was so annoying because he would like talk about it and then say like, oh, but like I don't want someone to like want me for that.
Yeah, I'm like, you're an idiot.
Stop talking about it.
Stop bringing it up.
You literally don't have to talk about it.
No one cares.
No. Well, the girl I think did.
I agree, and I probably would too if I heard it. But if you never brought it up, I wouldn't care.
The way to do that is to like connect with someone without that even being a topic of conversation.
He's like, what are your thoughts on like being provided for? She's like, well, I want to be, and he was like, great, I'm a billionaire. And he was like, but what are your thoughts on breaking like stuff up evenly? And if I were her, I'd be like, well, now that you've told me that, we're not doing that. You should be paying for all of it. Yeah. And then he's like, "Why you only like me for my money?" And I'm just like, "No, you're the one that was like the third thing you said about yourself."
Yeah. It's like he couldn't wait to say it.
Yeah.
Like,
I just feel like no, I don't think I would be able to marry someone. Well, I know I wouldn't. His ego was so huge. I would have loved to just tear him down.
And I think that was probably the single most awkward reveal I've ever seen.
So he wanted to be with Hannah, and he was kind of stringing along this other girl. I don't even remember her name.
I don't either.
But she was like this little petite girl, and she was just like, I
want to be
rich,
a trophy wife.
Yay.
She verbatim
literally
said,
like,
I'm not she was trying to be mean.
No. And so he was like, I'm not really into it. Let's call her Gabby for this story's sake. And he was like, kind of just like stringing her and Hannah along. So then both of them were like, I don't know who he's more interested in. And then Hannah just made the decision she was going to be with Nick. Mm-hmm. And then she went into the room with Leo, and Leo, she kind of was like, all right, Leo, like, this is it. Like, I'm done.
I picked
Leo. Leo lost his mind. Like, the man started like
yelling,
weeping, yelling,
screaming, yelling. Like,
not necessarily mean things, just like
he's like
begging, begging her. Like, Hannah, I was gonna break things off for you. Like, you were my number one, Hannah. Like, if I were to propose right now, are you saying that I didn't have a chance? Like, just the weirdest, cringiest, grossest looking thing ever.
Yeah.
I was like, I would be mortified if I were him. And so she like leaves crying because he's like yelling at her for like
I can't
30
do this
minutes.
Right now. She's like, I need to like
She's like, I need to like sleep on this.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I didn't even know that you like I was your number one. And he's
Yeah.
like, Hannah, you don't get it. I was gonna propose to you.
He's like, if I propose right now,
What would you say?
Give me an answer. And she's like,
Are you telling me you would end things with him if I were to propose? If I was just a little bit earlier? Like, so dramatic.
oh my gosh, it
And
was
so
wild.
then she sleeps on it, comes back. She's like, no, I'm still with Nick.
No.
And he's like, yeah. I totally thought the same way.
This
like,
is
I was
mutual?
so
Oh my God.
on the same plane as you. I agree. This
Yeah.
is mutual. Can you just like tell Gabby this was mutual? Like, I wasn't that
Yeah.
into you. Like, totally.
He like told her he loved her.
Yeah.
He said he wasn't gonna say that until he proposed. So he's like
weird.
he's like backsliding so
Yeah,
hard. And
save
it's like,
face.
Can you just like say like this was mutual and that like was it? No, her name wasn't Hannah. Can you? What is her name? I don't remember. Can you tell her that like I love her so much?
Gabby?
Yeah.
We're calling her Gabby.
I love her so much. Yada yada yada. And Hannah's like, no,
I'm not
I'm
gonna
not
do
doing
that.
that. Like
Nor should she.
no.
Oh my gosh. And then to top it off, Gabby then comes in. She writes this letter saying how hurt and offended she was by the fact that he was like not picking her.
Yeah.
And she's like crying. And then after he's like, so like, do you want to get married? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like,
I know. I was like,
Gabby,
oh.
you're so stupid.
I was like, oh my gosh, she's breaking up with him. Like, go
on.
off, queen. Like, I love that for you. And then
No.
she's like, okay.
Okay, yay. I'm like, no, Gabby, come on, pull
No,
it together.
I know.
And
It
so
was
then
bad.
when they met,
It was
it
bad.
was weird.
The single out of all, 7 seasons?
Yeah.
The most awkward reveal I've ever seen.
Like, okay, in my opinion, if you're going to do this show and you're going to do a reveal, you like need to go in and I think you need to kiss. I think you need to get it out of the way because it's going to be awkward no matter what. So I'm like, you got to kiss, you got to embrace, you got to just pretend it's not weird.
Yeah.
You can be like, this is weird, but then you got to be like, so good to meet you, small talk, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They were like crickets, silence, and then he's just stroking her.
So yeah, they go and like sit
Oh
down
my
on like
gosh.
the couch or whatever, and the way he's like trying to like lay on the couch and like cradle her and like petting her, it just like
I get
being
chills.
so
Chills.
weird and creepy
The weirdest
and like
thing.
it's like plain as day that
She's
so
so
uncomfortable and like feels awkward, and she's a very attractive
Yeah.
lady and he's like pretty mid.
Yeah.
And so not to again, that's not the point of the
But like
show,
she's frowning.
but like she
You can
is,
tell
like,
she's
not.
She's like removing his hand from her hair at points.
She's like, can you
because she's like,
stop
"Can you
petting
stop?"
me? And he's just
doing
like
it?
so. You can tell he's like so infatuated with her.
That was icky.
And he just like is kissing her all over her face, and like he's like trying to like lay down with her, and she's like fighting it. It's so awkward.
Weird. They're also the only couple that went to the couch.
Yeah,
Because she turned around to go back into
she
the
went
room,
back to her room,
and he followed her.
Yeah.
Whereas all the other ones sit on the bench where it's like in the middle of the meeting point, and then they like go their separate ways.
Yeah, she was like
I
immediately.
think she was like, "See ya, bye," but like didn't say that, and so he
She
like
was
followed her.
immediately no, and
Crazy.
everybody could see it except for Leo.
So then after they met, it went black, and it said production did not follow them,
Yeah.
but they went on their own journey, and they broke up.
Yeah, it said they like went to Miami, and I just like don't know if I just really don't.
I bet she broke up with him like over the phone,
Yeah.
like a text or something.
Yeah, or like maybe she used him to get a trip out of, but like
To Miami.
yeah, and then there she was like, "I'm not spending time with you." Like
We're not doing this.
Yeah.
So that was the pods.
that was the pods.
You guys should watch it. It is
it's
great
very,
TV.
Very entertaining. The
Love it.
reveals, it's like the ultimate
reveals
people
alone.
watching. If you like watching awkward first dates like I do, because
Yeah.
I've been on enough. Ugh, it's
Such
the best.
secondhand embarrassment for them on the reveals, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So on the next episode, we'll talk about the honeymoon
the post pods.
post pods. So
All right. See you
bye.
next time.